Hey everyone, I'm Andrew. I've been pagan for the past 12 years, and today we're going to be having a chat about Hellenism, which is the ancient Greek religion, and every Tuesday we are going to have another video about Hellenism. So, the ancient Greek religion is called Hellenism or Hellenismos. People who follow it are called Hellenists, some prefer Hellenes, or some people just prefer Greek pagans. So all of these words are going to be used interchangeably in my videos. There are 7 main values of Hellenismos, and these are called the laws or the pillars of Hellenismos. Now, an important thing to know here is that in the Hellenistic area, it isn't clear on if they called the values pillars back then, but that is the phrase that's coined now, so that's what I'll refer to them here. So since I don't want my videos to be longer than 10 minutes, I will probably have to cover all of these in segments. We will just see how many we get done this time, and that's how we'll do it. Keep in mind that I speak no Greek whatsoever, so if you guys speak Greek and are laughing throughout this entire video because my pronunciations are way off, please tell me so that I can pronounce them correctly in future videos. Alright, let's get to it, guys. The 7 pillars are Ethike Arete, which is the practice of habitual excellence or ethics. Eusebia, reverence, loyalty, and sense of duty towards the gods of Greece. Hagnia, the maintaining of ritual purity by avoiding miasma, and miasma is another topic we will talk about probably during that video, and then I might have a separate video to talk more about it if I feel like we need to do that. Nomos Archaios, which is observance of ancient tradition, religious law, and customs. Sophia, the pursuit of wisdom, understanding, and truth. Sophrosun, the control of self through deep contemplation, and Xenia, adherence to hospitality and the guest-host relationship. So firstly, Ethike Arete, the practice of habitual excellence. In Greek, arete means excellence of any kind. A deeper meaning to it is the act of living up to one's full potential. Now, Aristotle, the famous Greek philosopher, believed there were 2 types of arete. One is Ethike Arete, which is technically what we're discussing now, and the other is Arete Ethike, where Ethike Arete is about ethically being your best self. Arete Ethike is similar to one of the pillars, Sophia, but they don't line up completely, so they're not used interchangeably. You guys all know or have heard the phrase, the ends justify the means. Well, the best way I've heard the two explained is that Ethike Arete, character excellence, is the ends, and Arete Ethike, intellectual excellence, is the means. Aristotle illustrates this further in his example where a man is confronted with sudden danger and doesn't have time to think about his actions. His action shows his character, or Ethike Arete, whereas the man who has considered his position beforehand and decided his actions prior to needing to act on them shows intellectual choice, or Arete Ethike. Aristotle's argument really is that if we reach a certain end through Ethike Arete, our character excellence, then our Arete Ethike, intellectual excellence, is what helps us decide the best way for reaching that end. Thus was born the overlying concept of the singular arete, meaning excellence, just being your best you completely. Arete was occasionally personified into a goddess who was the sister of Harmonia, not to be confused with Harmonia. Arete and Harmonia were the daughters of the goddess of justice, and Arete and Harmonia were known together as the exactors of justice, or the Praxi Decai. The only story that's known to include Arete as a goddess is actually a very good example, in my opinion, of what the concept of Arete really is. In the story, Heracles, or Hercules, which is actually the Roman name for the hero, was met at a crossroads by two young women who were goddesses disguised. One was Arete, and the other was her opposite, Kakia, who is the personification of badness. At this crossroads, Heracles was offered two directions to go down. He could follow Arete's path, which was a life of struggle against evil, but he had glory. And Kakia offered Heracles a life of wealth and pleasure, and Heracles ultimately chose Arete. Now, here's the ultimate argument, basically, that Hellens tend to have about Arete as a pillar, and it's who or what defines excellence for anyone or everyone following the Greek gods. People don't just stumble upon being good and virtuous and excellent in their everyday life. They have to choose to live that life. So, does the individual person decide what is virtuous to them, and that counts as Arete, or is there a set of morals that represents Arete, which a person should strive for in order to consider themselves accomplishing Arete? Since so many people differ in our moral compass, it's difficult to say that Aristotle's Arete should be based around the specific set of virtues that Aristotle relates to Arete. Another choice, if you choose to follow Aristotle, is to define Arete as the concept of balance in our actions and life rather than living in the extremes. Now, using your own personal morals to support a pillar of Hellenism can help connect you to this faith, and it shows you how the Greeks really lived, because Hellenism didn't have a name back then. It was just accepted as complete truth and was so embedded into their culture and everyday life that there was really no other way to live. Using your own personal morals also lets you look at Arete as a type of true north to your compass of living virtuously, and it gives you the flexibility and room to change your values while still living inside the concept. This allows for so much diversity to just flood into the community of all people who worship the Greek gods. Now, I know this all seems super overwhelming. When I first found the values, and some call them laws, of Hellenism, I was sitting there thinking, this seems like a lot of pressure, especially because of the chronic illness I have, along with my bipolar disorder. My chronic illness, it makes it hard sometimes, a lot of the time, to get out of bed, to even make these videos, to do homework, to go to work, to do my work, and with my bipolar disorder, I'm much more ambitious than I am capable sometimes. Like, sometimes I just am laying in bed knowing that the best I can be today is continue breathing, and that's what my cat here does. She's my service animal for my seizures, and sometimes that's the best I can do, but I'm sitting there also thinking, well, I could be doing this, I could be doing this, I could be finishing this, I need to do this, and that ambition just clashes with being my best self and Arete for me. And, I just thought there's no way that I can always be my best. And Then I saw a quote, and I wished I could remember where it's from so that I could find the exact wording or even like what the exact wording is. Um, but it said that doing your best isn't working until you can't do anymore, or if you're not doing good work at all, let alone your best. It's not making yourself completely incapacitated because you're working so hard. Doing your best is going until you are no longer functioning at your peak, and then doing self care until you are at your peak again. The way I personally take the concept of arete, and you can decide for yourself how you'd like to take it, but I view it as following the rest of the pillars to the best of my ability, regardless of what level that is that day. So, since this topic alone took way longer than I assumed it would, I'm going to assume that each value might take their own video. So I will see you next Tuesday. I know I published this on Wednesday, but I had a migraine yesterday, so it will be Tuesday next week, and we will be talking about the next pillar on our list, which is Eusebia. Have an awesome week. Peace out. See you guys later.